Kirkcudbright is a town and parish in Kirkcudbrightshire, of which it is traditionally the county town, within Dumfries and Galloway, Scotland. The town lies southwest of Castle Douglas and Dalbeattie at the mouth of the River Dee, some 4 miles from the Irish Sea. History. An early rendition of the name of the town was Kirkcudbright. This derives from the Gaelic Kilishwithbear, meaning chapel of Cuthbert, the Anglian saint whose mortal remains were kept at the town between their exhumation at Lindisfarne and reinterment at Chester Street. Spottiswoode, in his account of religious houses in Scotland, mentions that the Franciscans or Grey Friars had been established at Kirkcudbright from the 12th century. No traces of the Grey Friars or Franciscan dwellings remain in the parish of Kirkcudbright. In 1453, Kirkcudbright became a royal borough, and about a century later, the magistrates of the town obtained permission from Queen Mary to use part of the convent and nunnery as a parish church. From around 1570, Sir Thomas McClellan of Bombay, the chief magistrate, received a charter for the site, its grounds and gardens. McClellan dismantled the church in order to obtain material for his new castle, a very fine house which was built on the site. After defeat at the Battle of Towton, Henry VI of England crossed the Solway Firth in August 1461 to land at Kirkcudbright in support of Queen Margaret at Linlithgow. The town also for some time withstood a siege in 1547 from the English commander Sir Thomas Carleton, but after the surrounding countryside had been overrun was compelled to surrender. Kirkcudbright Tolbooth was built between 1625 and 1629 and served not only as the toll booth, but also the council offices, the burgh and sheriff courts, the criminal prison and the debtors' prison. One of the most famous prisoners was John Paul Jones, hero of the American Navy, who was born in nearby Kirkcudbright. The Kirkcudbright Railway opened in 1864, but the railway line and station closed in 1965. The war memorial dates from 1922 and is by George Henry Paulin. Kirkcudbright training area, like many other remote areas during World War II, a 4,700-acre area to the southeast of the town and extending to the coast of the Solway Firth, was acquired by the Army in 1942, as a training area for the D-Day invasion. The area remains in active use for live firing exercises to this day. Part of the training area is the Dundrennan Range, a weapons development and testing range. The use of this range for the testing of depleted uranium shells has been controversial. The range also contains one of the 2 surviving A-39 Tortoise heavy assault tanks from the 6 prototypes originally produced. The 32 PDR gun has been removed and the tank is used for target practice. Due to the range's designation as a site of special scientific interest, the removal of the tank to a museum is unlikely. Museums. The Stewardshire Museum was founded in 1879 and was at first based in the town hall until it became too small to house the collections. The collection moved to a purpose-built site and contains the local and natural history of the Stewardshire of Kirkcudbright. Britain's earliest surviving sporting trophy, the Scilly gun, is part of the collection, as are paintings by many local artists. The Tolbooth building is now used as an art centre. Notable people. Kirkcudbright has had a long association with the Glasgow art movement, which started when several artists, including the Glasgow Boys and the famed Scottish colourists such as Samuel Peploe and Francis Cadell, based themselves in the area over a 30-year period from 1880 to 1910, establishing the Kirkcudbright Artists' Colony. Many of them moved to the town from Glasgow, including including Edward Hornell, George Henry and Jesse M. King. Later another small group of Glasgow-trained artists built the studios across the river at the Stell, including John Charles Lamont and Robert Civil. Landscape painter Charles Oppenheimer moved to Kirkcudbright in 1908, and is given credit along with artist Dorothy Nesbitt for protecting the Harbour Cottage Gallery from demolition in 1956. The presence of these and other accredited artists led to Kirkcudbright becoming known as the artist's town, although town residents see the town as a fishing town. As the town has a harbour, this sobriquet may have originated more from tourist board publicity rather than local usage. Landscape and figure painter William Hannah Clark lived in Kirkcudbright and many of his works featured Kirkcudbright. He is buried in the town's churchyard and his tombstone was carved by friend Glasgow sculptor Alexander Proudfoot. Kirkcudbright has been home to some professional footballers, most notably Bob McDougall, George Cloy and David Matheson. David Magman, Scottish rugby international, was from Kirkcudbright, as was Ellis Cooper Fratter's family. Composer Cecil Coles was born in Kirkcudbright. Sport Kirkcudbright is represented in the South of Scotland Football League by St Cuthbert Wanderers FC. The club's best-known former players are Bob McDougall, Billy Halliday and David Matheson. Music. The lyricist and poet Marriott Edgar, who wrote, amongst other things, Albert and the Lion for Stanley Holloway, was born in Kirkcudbright in 1880. The composer Cecil Coles, who studied under Holston, was killed by sniper fire towards the end of World War I, was born in Kirkcudbright in 1888. The band Betrayal, which comprised Kirkcudbright musicians Stephen Milligan, Mervyn Macklin and Stephen McClelland, as well as Andrew Black, Bluey and Marty, released an album, Rattlesnake Waltz, on Liverpool's Probe Plus Records in 1987. As reviewed in Q magazine at the time as this seven-piece outfit from Galloway make their album debut with a strange brew containing a healthy dash of speed metal and a fistful of disparate elements taken from early Genesis, The Lovin' Spoonful, Led Zeppelin, and The Skids. On paper this might seem unworkable, but in reality it adds up to a highly individual sound, with tracks like Made, Dead Man's Hand and No Big Thing, where Sue String's soaring vocals form an attractive contrast to Steve McClelland's manic synthesizer providing the high spots. The only obvious drawback to this formula is that by utilizing such an unusual variety of influences, the band may be limiting their appeal to lovers of the eccentric. Quote.